Hey, my name is Jake Panasevich, and this is the first Intro to Yoga class, the first free one. And today we'll be focusing in on our foundation, like quite literally, how you place your hands, how you place your feet, and your stance. And that'll literally affect your entire experience. And so here we go, buckle up. You can start by taking a comfortable seat, and you'll hear us yoga teachers say that, right? Like, take a comfortable seat, and it's like, what's that mean? Where are the chairs, right? Well, you'll often think of yogis sitting cross-legged. It looks cool, but if your knees go above your hips, like your hip points, this will quickly cut off the blood circulation to your feet. Your feet will quickly become numb, all right? And it also could be very binding on your hip flexors and psoas. And the first time I did a yoga class, that's where the pain first started, actually, when I was asked to sit down. And so I'll give you permission to sit up on a block, prop up enough so your knees are at least even, if not below your hips. And then it's always an option to sit in what's called Vajrasana, where you sit on your calves. Okay, I often sit like this. It's just a nice way to make sure you're comfortable. Okay, and then yoga will use this specific breathing technique, and here's an easiest way to access it. So you just sit comfortably, take a deep breath in, bring your palm up towards your mouth, and exhale out your mouth. And you ought to be able to feel your breath against your palm. Okay, so deep breath in again, and exhale out your mouth, like you're fogging up a window. And let's do once more. Deep breath in. And a complete breath out your mouth. Okay. Now it would be the same breathing technique, now just in and out through your nose. So deep breath in through your nose, sit tall. And that same emphasis on the exhale, just out through your nose. Okay. And couple rounds like that. Okay, so it's a deep, full, intentional breath. It's commonly taught that your neighbor should hear it, or it should sound like Darth Vader, and that's being too aggressive. Okay, your neighbor shouldn't be able to hear it. If it's too forced, you're over-efforting, and the whole purpose of this breath is to prevent you from pushing you too far, okay? And that'll help prevent injury. So just the connection to this breath and being mindful with it is in itself preventing injury and pushing beyond your limits. And so that's paramount with yoga. And so if you ever need to reconnect to your breath, you just take a pause, do what you can, and reconnect to it. All right, so here we go. Louis joining me today. He's my 13-year-old French bulldog with me here on the mat. And just buckle up. Here we go. Hands and knees, tabletop. You know, line yourself up with your wrists straight across your mat. And the center of your wrists right underneath your outer shoulders. Okay, it's very specific. So pointer finger straight forward gets you in the ballpark. But really these wrist creases, okay, if you look, it looks like where you would be wearing a watch or a Fitbit, okay, that would be parallel with the front edge of your mat. Okay, and as you inhale, you're just gonna arch your back, look forward. Exhale, round your spine, look towards your navel. Okay, a couple times like that. Okay, just slowing down your breath and syncing up your movement with the cadence of your breath. And with your next in-breath, find a neutral spine and pelvis. Tuck your toes under, step back for a plank, like the top of a push-up. Legs straight, wrists under your shoulders. This is a good length. Don't move your hands or feet, but lift your hips up and back for down dog.
Okay, down dog like an upside down V shape on your mat. And look at your feet. Feet hips width apart, about 3 to 4 inches apart. And bend both knees a lot, about halfway towards the floor. Widen your knees as wide as your feet. Without letting your knees knock in, push your arms straight. Stretch your shoulders, lengthen your back, tip your hips up. Okay, you should feel a little arch in your low back. Okay, only so much as you could keep that. You could stretch your legs out as straight as they'll go. Okay, so commonly taught to force your legs straight, to get them straight. Okay, in my opinion, you want to bend your knees enough to really focus in on that lordotic curve in the low back, that release in the low back, rather than jamming your legs straight at the expense of your low back rounding. Okay, bend your knees deeply, look forward, and walk to the front of your mat. Okay, you bend your knees as much as you need to. You step your feet as wide as you have to step it forward. Okay, and bow at the top, feet straight forward. Feet hips width apart, at least 1 fist width apart. Okay, most likely wider, 2 fists, or even as wide as your mat. Okay, if you're stronger or tighter in the hamstrings. And bend your knees as much as you have to touch. Again, another pose where commonly thought that you've got to get your legs as straight as they'll go. And often most folks are here. Okay? And if you're here, this is straining your back more than it's doing good. Okay, so you're still actively stretching the legs. Okay, but enough bending your knees to keep it safe. Okay, and as you inhale, lift halfway up. Hands to your shins as high up as you need to get an extension in your back. Could be all the way up to your knees. Exhale, bow forward, touch the floor, and inhale. Now reach your arms all the way overhead. Come up to stand. And exhale, arms in at your side. Okay, full breath in, reach your arms up. And exhale, dive forward again, touch the floor in front of you. Okay, bend your knees enough to touch. Inhale, lift halfway up, now legs straight. And exhale, hands to the floor. Step back for your plank. Wrists under the shoulders, legs straight. Exhale, low plank, bend your elbows just far enough away from your ribs to keep your shoulders set back. Keep your shoulders back, lower your hips to the floor. Point your feet for a cobra. Inhale, you pull your chest towards the front edge of your mat. Only go so tall as you could keep your shoulders set back. So bend your elbows enough to keep your shoulders back. Okay, and you're gonna roll over your knees, tuck your toes for tabletop. Just adjust your stance again. Wrist straight across, spread your fingers wide. Flatten the entire perimeter of your hands evenly. Okay, down dog. Lift your hips. Stretch back. Again, enough bend in the knees to keep your low back lifted. And with your next inhale, come to the balls of your feet. Exhale, bend your knees and step to the top of your mat. Okay, bend your knees enough, go wide enough to step it forward and touch the floor. Inhale, now legs straight, lift halfway up. And exhale, bow and touch. Deep breath in, arms overhead. And exhale, arms at your side. Okay, full breath, reach your arms up. Exhale, dive forward, touch the floor in front of you. Okay, again, bend the knees enough to touch. Keep your fingertips on the floor. Weight in your right foot, step your left foot way back. For lunge, hop onto the fingertips. You want to get long enough in your stance that your front knee is right over your ankle and your back foot's vertical. Okay, so if you need to adjust, you could wiggle that back foot, power up the back leg, root your right heel, gaze slightly forward. Okay, and inhale, step forward or hop it forward. And switch sides. Weight in the left foot, right foot way back for lunge. Okay, so a big step. You could adjust so you're long enough in your stance. And this left knee's right over the ankle. Your back foot's more straight up and down vertical. Hop onto your fingertips. Straight back leg.
Okay, and go ahead and step it forward. Bow at the top. Inhale, lift halfway up, legs straight. Hands to your hips, angle your elbows up, come up and stand. Right. So those are all front plane poses, just meaning you're facing the front edge of your mat, okay? They're all sun salutation variations, it's called, okay? And you'll almost always, in every class, do some variation of a sun salutation. So it's very important to get clear on that alignment, because you'll be doing a lot of that. All right, now I'll do side plane poses, where you face the side edge of the mat, take a wide stance. Wide stance in yoga is when you reach your arms out, your ankles will be underneath your wrists. Okay, so measure it out, feet straight. Okay, then turn your right foot towards the front edge of your mat. Bend your right knee deeply. Okay, that adjustment we did at the wide stance will get you in the ballpark. And now you want to do any micro adjustments you need to do to keep your right knee over your ankle, front thigh parallel with the floor. Okay, look towards the wall to your left. Make sure your chest is square towards that wall to your left. Hips are square. Okay, and look through your right fingertips. Warrior two. Side angle pose. Right elbow on your right thigh. Left arm by your ear. Okay, turn your chest towards the ceiling. And look up if it doesn't hurt your neck. Okay, inhale, come on up. Warrior two. Straighten your right leg. Turn your right foot in. Spin your left foot out towards the back wall. Okay, bend your left knee deeply. Okay, turn your chest square towards the side wall. Hips square. Just look at your back foot. Make sure it's parallel with the back edge of your mat. Okay, and your alignment is left heel to back inner arch of foot. For side angle pose, left elbow on your left thigh, right arm by your ear. Turn your chest towards the ceiling. Look up if it doesn't hurt your neck. Okay, come on up. Hands on your hips. Turn both feet towards the wide edge of your mat. Look at your feet, make sure they're even and straight. So if you were to draw a line from your second toe mound straight back, it'd intersect the very center of your heel. So everyone's shape of the foot is a little bit different. That's really the landmark that we're after. Okay, and bow forward, touch the floor in front of you. You can bend your knees as much as you have to touch. Even if you could touch, if your low back is at all tight, bend your knees enough. Even if for a breath to release it. So far as you feel release, you can straighten your legs out and fold down the middle. Inhale, lift halfway up. Hands to your hips, shoulders back. Come up to stand. Turn to the front. Step to the top of your mat. Okay, feet straight. Feet hips width apart. Weight in your right foot. Bend your left knee. Place your left sole of foot against your right inner thigh. Hey, if you can't get the foot up onto the thigh, you could put it on the calf. Okay, you could even slide the foot down so your toes are on the floor, okay, to get more stability. Okay, wherever you're at, hold your center, press your foot against the leg against your foot to create a lift in your back. Okay, hands touch at your center. Lift your chest up. And step it down. And second side, weight in the left foot, bend your right knee, place your right sole of foot. For tree, okay, hold your center, square your hips to the front. As you're balanced, tilt your gaze slightly up, lift your chest up. And step down, feet straight, bow forward, touch the ground. And bend both knees deeply, sit down, and lie on your back. Yeah, lie on your back pose, popular pose. We'll sit up for bridge. Bend your knees, place your feet, ankles underneath your knees, feet hips width apart. You're gonna root your feet down to lift your hips up, lift your low back up, and either clasp your hands underneath you or arms alongside you, palms spin up. Okay, whichever helps you gives you leverage to walk your shoulders up and underneath you to lift your chest up. Okay, and lower your hips down gently. Press your hands against the root of your thighs. Back of your head down. And hug the knees in. For happy baby, you can hold the shins just below the kneecaps. Knees is wide enough to cradle your torso. You can either hold it still or rock and roll side to side, whichever feels better on your back. And rock it up to sit. And swing your right leg out, left knee in for Janu Shirsasana it's called. So you're gonna twist over the right leg. Okay, left hand in front of you, right hand behind you. Root your right leg down as straight as it'll go. And then you could reach your left hand for your right foot or outer shin or thigh, whatever you could get. Okay, right hand to the outside of your right shin, to the floor. And push your weight more into your left hip as you twist right and bow. Okay, so more importantly than reaching your foot, which when I was new, I always thought was the goal. Okay, more importantly, to get your right leg to root down completely to protect your low back. Okay, come on up and switch sides. Left leg out. Right knee in for Janu Shirsasana. And twist to the left. Reach your right hand for your left foot or shin or whatever you could reach. Even stay upright if it feels like you got more leverage to lift your back. And root the left leg down. Okay? And inhale. Come on up. Swing both legs out wide. Feet point up. Knees point up. Root your legs down. Hands behind you. Tip your pelvis up. Low back up. Okay, breathe right here. If you could keep this alignment as you come forward, you can bow down the middle. Okay, if you go to come forward, if your knees lift up, if your back tucks under, hands behind you, root your legs down as straight as they'll go. Okay, and come on up. All right, that's the first Intro to Yoga free class. Let me know what you think. Hope you enjoyed it. Again, very foundational, but this is really what will carry you through in all evolutions of your practice, all the way up through advanced. And so it's really important to get it right the first time, because it's harder to rewrite the script and go back and relearn and get rid of a bad habit. So yeah, better to get it right the first time, and hope you enjoyed, and thanks for joining me. Namaste.